All right, let's just jump in here. Andy, can you switch slides? Go to the first few slides there. It should say wild and holy, and then, okay. So we're going to wrap up. This is the last of our congregational midweeks here in the spring. Are you able to find it, Andy? Oh, okay. So this is the last of our wild and holy spring congregational men's midweek. So we'll go back to family groups until the summertime, then we'll have our outdoor park stuff going on in the summer. You can go ahead and put it up when it's ready. And I think we're going to keep the theme wild and holy for the rest of the year. I think there's more to develop from it and more to wrestle with it. Maybe we'll even tie that into the men's retreat somehow. But the concept that I was wrestling this week that I want to present as kind of a conclusion, and then Terry's going to get up and teach our last lesson, is what is your reputation with men? I want you to take a minute to kind of ponder that. Next slide. What is your reputation among men? Like, how do the men in your world view you? And before I give any leading comments, I just want you to take a minute to kind of think, perhaps you take it to God and pray, God, what's my reputation among men? Just take a moment to think about that. What's your reputation among men? I think as we looked at this series, we talked about wildness and holiness. We talked about wisdom. We talked about resiliency. We're kind of working through these concepts. But I think it's important not how often we view ourselves, because we can often have an inflated or deflated view of ourselves. If you're very optimistic and very prideful, you look in the mirror and go, man, you look good. Many of us have a pessimistic view. We look in the mirror and like, oh man, I'm just barely making it, But however you view yourself is less important to the reputation you have among men in your life. And in thinking about that, next slide, Andy. I thought about this song by Tracy Lawrence. The TV went off, so I'm going to have to stand sideways here. Thanks. But I thought about this song. It's a country song, so 90% of you have never heard it before. But it's by an artist named Tracy Lawrence. Yeah, you want to sing it for us? No? Okay. All right. But it says, run your car off the side of the road, get stuck in a ditch way out in the middle of nowhere, or get yourself in a bind, lose the shirt off your back, need a floor, need a couch, need a bus fare. Next slide. Nope, I've lost them. Can you do next slide, Terry? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the cream is going to rise. This is where you really didn't know. This is where the truth don't lie. Next slide. You're going the wrong way. And we're lost. It's all right. Just stay there. But it goes on to go, you know who your friends are. It's the people that come out in the middle of the night to help you. And I don't think it's just the people who have a willingness. It's the people that have the ability. If you were to think about right now, okay, move off of what's your reputation among men. But if you're in a bind, on the side of the road, no cell phone, no AAA, no nothing, who do you reach out to? I said no cell phone, but, no AAA. Who do you call? You have a leak in your house. Who do you call? You're in a bind financially. Who do you call? You're stuck in sin. You're in conflict with your spouse. Who do you call? You get fired from your job. Who do you call? Who are the men in your life that you call? If you don't have anybody on that list, I challenge you to change that. But you're going to call the people that have wisdom, who have resiliency. If you need a little adventure in your life, who do you call? You're going to call somebody who's a little more wild and has some excitement. Can you go to my last slide? I was thinking scripturally about David in this context. Keep going. I don't know what's happening with the white scriptures. I saw it 2 seconds ago. There it is. In 1 Samuel 16, verse 17 through 18, David might encompass the wild and holy principle the best in Scripture. We just have so much about his life and his example. But look at this little snippet from his life. It says, then Saul commanded his servants, find me someone who plays well and bring him to me. So Saul is distressed. He's having these tantrums and things going on in his life, and he wants somebody to play music for him to calm him down. He wants a little instrumental serenading to kind of bring peace to his life. And it says after that, he says, find me somebody to play for me. He goes, one of the young men answered, I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He is also a valiant man, a warrior, eloquent, handsome, and the Lord is with him. Look at all the characteristics that this servant in the house of Saul knew about David. This is David's reputation. The question Saul asked isn't find me an eloquent speaker or a good-looking dude or a warrior or any of those things. He just says, I want a guitarist. I need a bass player. I need somebody to play music to soothe me at night. But the servant can't help but describe the reputation of David. And the reputation of David is not a singular skill or identity. It's a complex presentation of a man. He's valiant. He's a warrior, he's eloquent, good-looking dude, and he can play music, and God is with him. This is the complexity that we're talking about with wild and holy. Men who are not afraid, who are valiant, who have valor in their life, respectableness, and a little bit of wild streak, but also skilled in things, take life seriously, are worthy of people's praise. Again, what is your reputation among men? David was well known in a complex manner. Go to the next slide, the last one. That was at his, it's okay. That was in his younger years. In his later years, in 2 Samuel 17, it said the same thing. Absalom, his son, has rebelled against him. He started a war, and he goes, hey, don't go out to war against your brother, your father. He's a soldier. Here you go. Oh, there you go, right there, perfect. He says, Hushai replied to Absalom, the advice Anthipol has given this time is not good. Hushai continued, you know your father and his men. They are warriors and are desperate like a wild bear robbed of her cubs. Your father is an experienced soldier who won't spend the night with the people. Next slide. He's probably already hiding in one of the caves or some other place. If some of our troops fall first, someone is sure to hear and say, there's been a slaughter among the people who follow Absalom. Then even a brave man with his heart of a lion will lose heart because all Israel knows that your father and the valiant men with him are warriors. Okay, I just want to put it into perspective. David is an old man at this point. This isn't young David slinging rocks at Goliath. This isn't the foolish young man who's rushing out into battle with no armor or anything like that. This is the old David. So the older men in the room, are you still a man of reputation? Are you somebody that somebody says is brave, that is valiant, that is a warrior? Now, I'm not physically asking you to go fight the neighbors and take back some land for our church property, but are you somebody that somebody calls? I think the last slide that I wanted to look at was, as we finish out this wild and holy thing, is what is your reputation among men? My challenge for you this week and for the coming weeks is to contemplate that. How do other men view me? Am I a man of valor? Am I considered a warrior? Am I somebody worthy of calling when somebody else is in trouble? Do I have the respect of people? Do I work on my character and my skills that I'm useful to others? Now, not everybody here is going to be as useful as others in certain areas. If you have drywall to be done, don't call me, call Sean. Pretty much anything to build on your house, call Sean. But who do you call? Who do you reach out to? Are you a person worthy of reaching out to? Last slide. We're going to have Isaac come up and do our prayer here before the end. But what is your reputation among men? I want you to think about that and contemplate that. Isaac's going to come up and share our prayer. Every week we've had a prayer, so you can come up and we'll wrap this up. But we'll continue the wild and holy. But I think the real issue here is being men of character with a reputation among men that is worthy of respect and honor, and that you have that connection to people. So we're going to pass out Isaac's prayer. He's going to share it with us, probably read it, and then Terry Trout's going to come up and close us out tonight with a lesson that finishes our wild and holy. But as we walk away, I'd like us to be contemplating that. What is our reputation among men? Here you go.
Awesome. So when Chris asked us to do these prayers, he listed them all out, and then he said, and these are in order, so wisdom and discernment will be last. And I said, great, that's mine. I'll do that. That's, it's wisdom, right? That's, I don't even think you can call that earthly wisdom. That's Isaac wisdom. But here's our prayer. Lord, we think ourselves wise. We make plans, execute visions, build institutions, and we say to ourselves, this is wisdom. We speak confidently, deliberate ruthlessly, cast judgment, and we say, this is discernment. We think wisdom can be acquired through effort, like gold from the ground. Dispel us of this delusion. Humble our hearts. Bring our pride to ruin. And in its destruction, show us the only path. Solomon asked for discernment, and it was granted to him. So too do we ask for wise and discerning hearts. Give to us what isn't found in the ground, what can't be bought with gold, and what can't be crafted from our own hands, but comes only from you. We ask in desperation for your wisdom. Nothing can match its value. And you say to us, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn from evil is understanding.
Good evening, brothers. Great to be here with you. I remember during college being excited about discovering this little booklet that I found entitled Sweet Hour of Prayer. It detailed how to spend an hour praying, basically by taking 5 minutes on 12 different aspects of prayer, praise, thanksgiving, intercession, etc. I tried it for a while, but over time, it seemed to me that I couldn't really pray unless I had my guidebook and my notebook and my songbook, and it just became too complicated for me. It seemed like I was more focused on keeping track of the time for each of my little segments so I could stay on track than I was really about drawing closer to God. Then Ephesians 6 gave me some needed perspective. In Ephesians 6, the familiar armor of God section starts in verse 10, but then you keep going towards the end of that section in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 18, gave me the perspective that has been helpful to me for many years. It says, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. All kinds of prayer. Not the magic formula, not the it has to be this way, but all kinds of prayer. Just pray. Focus there. Not sure about teaching, but tonight an opportunity just to share some ideas with you that have been helpful to me through the years about different kinds of prayer. Some will be familiar, some maybe not. Oh, next slide, please. This isn't working. Prayer list, big surprise. You might be like Neil that has a notebook, that's fine. I, at the moment, tend to use a Google Docs that I have access on my phone, just it's more available in many situations for my current situation. Me personally, it's kind of a hodgepodge of friends from Europe, situations that we know about there, families from the Spokane Valley that we're getting to know, and reminders about what Scripture directs us to pray. What about some of the groups that you're already involved in that are already on your phone? Like, do you get a notice from the guys that there's some chat thing? Well, on my phone, at least most of the groups, you can go to the chat, hit the top thing, the banner at the top, and it'll give you the list. That assumes, I think, that you have the phone numbers as names connected in your contact list. But with that caveat, you hit the little top thing, and there's a list of these 6 guys that I interact with, or of the 18 people that come to the Reinhardt's house on Friday nights. Ready-made list. I'm just open your mind to list whether you've already manufactured them or you're already using them, but you haven't stopped and prayed for them for a while. You could to pray for a particular group. What are some of the things that we're directed to pray for in the Bible? What comes to mind for you? Thanks. What are some of the things the Bible directs us to pray for? Okay, pray for our enemies. Matthew 5. Leaders. What else? Pray for the church. Pray for one another. Jesus gave us a model prayer. It's actually but for me the challenge becomes, how often do I use it? Like actually pray it. That prayer is actually the centerpiece of the Sermon on the Mount. If you're familiar with the Bible Project, or even if you're not, it's a great resource. They took a whole year last year to go through the Sermon on the Mount. There's a chunk of that that's devoted to just the Lord's Prayer. It's a great resource if you're not already familiar with that. Other things that come to mind for you, any other things? What does the Bible encourage us, teach us, tell us to pray for? Pray for wisdom. That's a great one. Pray for your enemies, self-control. Ask the Lord of harvest to send out workers into his field. I think it's Matthew 9. We're supposed to pray for kings, for those who are in authority. Whether you agree with their politics or not, they're in positions of power. And I think it's 1 Timothy chapter 2, we're directed to pray for them. How you vote may or may not have a huge impact, but our prayers could in our world bring about a real difference. We're supposed to pray for one another. Similar but different, next slide please. What did Paul pray for? Prayed for churches. What else? Thanksgiving. Anything else? Good. Deliverance. He prayed for courage, that he would not give in to fear in his own presentation of the gospel, the opportunities that he had. It's very striking to me when I did this study myself, as far as, okay, I've gone through all the letters that we have from Paul, and all what we would categorize as these are all the prayers of Paul based on what we have written from him. How does that compare with the way I usually pray? Paul didn't spend most of his time praying for those who were sick and for those that needed new jobs. Nothing wrong with those prayers, all kinds of prayers. That's the point of tonight. However, if just praying for those who are sick and brother so-and-so that needs a better employment situation, my encouragement tonight is expand your universe. Be willing to try some new things. Explore some different ways to pray. And if you've not done those studies yourself as far as what we're directed to pray for in the Bible, and specifically the prayers of Paul in the Bible, I would encourage you to consider taking those on. Those are some very rich studies. Next slide, please. In our apartment, Joanna put together kind of a montage, pictures on the wall of friends from Europe where we spent a few years recently. Sometimes I just stand in front of those pictures and pray for the people. It reminds me of situations, and for them specifically in the churches they represent there, the times we had together. Some of them we're still in connection with as well. But just, again, an encouragement. It's a different, no, I'm not inviting you to come to my house and look at the pictures on the wall necessarily, but you all have pictures. You could make your own little folder of your group or situations or people that you love and care for. You already have some of those pictures anyway. But my question is, you could use them as an avenue to pray. I could use them more as an avenue to pray. Next slide, please. Last year, Joanna and I were part of a class based on the work of David Tackle called Forming. It's basically devoted to the idea of developing a conversational prayer life, which may not sound weird to you, but that was a real challenge for me personally, having grown up in the church, Christian church, Church of Christ my whole life. He developed this very compelling word picture throughout the 12-week course, the idea of rowing versus sailing. This word picture, this metaphor. The idea of rowing, well, that's focused on my effort, my energy, trying to propel my little spiritual boat merrily down the stream. Sailing, on the other hand, was the idea of, yes, there's still a little bit of work involved with hoisting the sails and all that. There's still stuff to do, but it's focused on God's Spirit providing the energy and the force and the oomph to make you move in the direction and at the speed that He wants. So that picture was very compelling to me throughout the course that he developed. And I still have a lot to learn about it, but I'd highly commend it. If you're not familiar with that idea at all, which I was not before the course that we took, and there's several more books that are waiting for me to give them some attention on my own bookshelf to pursue that farther personally. But just that was a great resource, and again, broadened my horizons about prayer in ways that I had not considered before. All kinds of prayer. That's what I'm trying to lay before you here tonight. Colossians chapter 4. Next slide, please. Colossians chapter 4. Verse 2 says, "Devote yourselves to prayer, being watchful and thankful." Years ago, many years ago, I read this book called The Power of Gratitude by Gordon Ferguson. I don't remember most of it. However, there was one little idea in here that lodged in my pea brain, and I've stuck with it for a very long time. In that book, partly because it was just a simple idea, and it was appealing to me, but in that book, he outlined this simple idea of having a thankful journal. My original one looks like something you'd have for 7th grade English. Nothing fancy, but it was just a notebook. Over time, actually, due to a generous friend in Ukraine, I now have a new and improved version. But still the same idea. That is, you can, every few days for me, I don't have a set schedule, but just every few days I stop, take time, look back through my own schedule, and think about, what do I have to be grateful for? How has God worked in my life recently? And just to make a note of that. Nothing fancy. Some recent entries for me. Just the date. Bible Project Classroom Joseph. That is, I just started a new classroom series that they have there. Many hours of teaching. Another date, another entry, a date. We had a dinner with Amy and Lawrence. But just on and on. It's over time, it becomes a rich resource of now I can look back over 25 years of entries on, I do have a few things to be thankful for, even if I'm having a bad day today. God has been working because it's so easy for me to forget, to get distracted, to get hyper-focused on what's right in front of me and forget the big picture of God has done a lot. God's been faithful through thick and thin for many, many years. He's brought us through a lot of things. But the thankful journal, that's an idea I would commend to you related to prayer to consider if you've not already done something like that. Obviously, you could do it in many different ways. You could have a digital version. I get that. Again, I'm just trying to give you ideas on things to consider if you're not already doing them. Next slide, please. To use the Psalms as a template. Many of you know there are praise psalms, thanksgiving psalms, different categories of psalms. Which category do you think is the largest? That would be true. although I would bet most of us in the room don't know that. I didn't for a long time. Lamentations, those are the ones like, God, have you abandoned us forever? My God, why have you forsaken me? How long, O Lord? Those are the lamentations. But again and again and again, that's not meant as a, oh, good, I get to complain. Well, yes and no. It's more about being honest with God about how you're feeling about your current situation and inviting Him to be faithful to His promises, inviting Him into your situation, even when it feels like this isn't working. My life is broken. It doesn't feel like, happy is the man who's walking with the Lord type of thing. Apparently, the life of the believer is not always blue skies and rainbows. Use the Psalms as a template for prayer. That is, find one that resonates with you about a situation in your life and latch onto it. Use it, like maybe literally word for word, or just read through it, phrase at a time, and then voice your own version of that. I remember the first time that I memorized more than just a few verses was as a teen. Psalm 51 at the time really resonated with me. Begging God to help me, struggling with my own impurity, begging God to create a clean heart within me. But again, use the Psalms. They're there for a reason. They're there to teach us. It's okay, apparently, to be having a bad day and to tell God about it. Next slide, please. Pick a psalm and set it to music. At some point, it'd be great to share some of those amongst ourselves with each other. Currently, I'm in a season not of setting psalms to music, but of enjoying that others have done that as well. If it's 9:30 at night and we're home without company, then I'm probably on YouTube listening to songs from the Psalms. That is just a simple search in YouTube. You can put in Psalm 72 song. It's amazing all the stuff that comes up. Sometimes, some nights I listen to 3 different ones. Some nights I might listen to 6, all in the same psalm. I just have a dedicated tab on a browser, and so it remembers whatever the last time I was there. So like the next time I go, all I have to do is change 72 to 73, boom, away I go. I don't even have to remember what the last thing I did was, because I just always leave it there. That's the season I'm in right now. But it's an amazing resource. If you're not familiar with those, again, I would commend that. All kinds of prayer. Expand your horizons. Certainly don't throw away things that are working for you, but if you feel like, oh, I only do it this way, but I'm not very excited about it, consider some other options. Next slide, please. My wife, Joanna recently shared some highlights from an online spiritual formation class that she participated in. Depending on your history in our family of churches, the idea of a prayer partner or discipleship partner or spiritual mentor may have a little baggage attached to it. This idea was simple, yet very profound, was helpful to me. I want to share it with you. Imagine George and I meeting together to help one another on our spiritual journey. George shares a recent high that is a victory of some type, and then when he's done, I pray, thanking God for working in George's life. Then we reverse, then it's my turn. I share a recent high, a victory of some sort. After I'm done, George prays for me. George, that is, he prays, thanking God that God's working in my life in that way. Next, we share a low, a challenge with each other, something that's going on that's getting us down, and we pray for each other in the same way. The difference to me is this idea, the focus is on bringing God into every situation. It's not about George and I fixing each other. It's not about, oh, I've got to be on my A game here because I don't know what George is going to, bring up, and do I know 3 verses to go along with that? Well, I may or may not. And this may or may not be the right time. But we can always invite God into this situation. To me, that was just very refreshing, again, a simple idea, part of the reason that I liked it. But I found it very refreshing. Just, again, ways to pray, perhaps in ways that we've not done before or recently. Next slide, please. Tonight, trying to encourage you to consider all kinds of prayer, other ways perhaps that you haven't considered. We're going to break up into groups here in just a few minutes. A couple of questions and then a chance to pray together. Question number 1, what else has been helpful to you in your prayer life that wasn't mentioned tonight? Second question, are there any of the ideas that people share in your group or from this little devotional, any ideas that you'd like to try that you've heard tonight? And then really just spend the time praying together. My only direction there is please spend more time praying than discussing the exact right way to pray in a group. There's so many ways to pray in a group or individual, which is kind of the point of tonight, all kinds of prayer.